Hello everyone, let's review the results of October's 3-card blind main event tournament. This month we had 282 participants, among which were 27 brand new players to the event. So if you're a new player watching this video right now, thank you for trying the format, and I hope to see you again next month. Among the 282 deck submissions, there were 188 unique decks. If we weigh the cards in these decks by their performance and run them through the Simpsons Diversity Index, we will see that this month was marginally more diverse than September. The 3-card blind diversity grade for this month is a B+. Alright, let's begin the review of this month's meta by discussing the recently unbanned Show and Tell. Show and Tell was initially banned because its combination with Lotus Bloom allowed you to turbo out a massive threat on the 4th turn of the game. Lotus Bloom is currently banned, and without it, you can't cast Show and Tell until the 5th turn of the game. This 1-turn difference is substantial enough that Show and Tell put up an unimpressive performance this month. The most popular card this month was Crystal Vein, which was being used in a variety of different decks. Notably, it was used in the most popular deck this month, which was Ajani Vengeant, Crystal Vein, and Tinder Farm. Ajani can do things like freeze storage lands or single threats until he accumulates enough loyalty to use his Lightning Helix effects over and over until you secure the win. Outside of this month, this deck hasn't been particularly popular, so if you were not paying close attention to the meta, you may have been blindsided by it. I think it's really cool that a relatively obscure deck like this one can jump to become the most popular deck in the format when the meta has the right conditions. The most popular threat this month was Lightstall Inquisitor. This is a relatively new card to the format, and it's making waves with its unique characteristics. It's flexible enough that there's many pairings to experiment with, but the most popular one this month was with Saz's Chocobo and Undiscovered Paradise, and Crack the Earth has generated a lot of discussion in the Discord channel. With all that having been covered, I think we can better examine the meta by just jumping into discussing this month's winners. In Novice 1, our winner was Paper Devil, who is playing Hex Parasite, Caracas, and Lightstall Inquisitor. This super cool original combination performed very well. We don't get to see Hex Parasite that often, but its ability to eat counters off of storage lands and depletion lands alike makes it a unique threat in the format. It will be interesting to see if this distinct combination will be adopted by other players in future metas. In Aspirant 3, our winner was TexWiz78, who was playing Crystal Vein, Mox Emerald, and Words of Wilding. This is a well-known deck in the format, but it was overshadowed for a long time by the combination of Sarcomancy and Telgelad Stylus. With Sarcomancy banned, Words of Wilding is the next best thing in terms of generating 2/2s every single turn. This powerful token spammer carried TexWiz78 to be the highest scoring player in this month. In Aspirant 2, our winner was Subnova42, who was playing Inquisition of Kozilek, Saz's Chocobo, and Undiscovered Paradise. For those of you who have been a part of the community for a long time, the name Subnova42 probably has you either starstruck or quaking in your boots. Subnova42 is a multiple-time champion returning to the format after a 5-month hiatus. If Subnova sticks around, this probably isn't the last time you're going to hear that name. In Aspirant 1, our winner was Arbor, who was playing Dismember, Hammerheim, and Heartfire Hero. Heartfire Hero has been a very consistent performer lately, and Arbor edged out the more traditional Heartfire Hero pairing of Alpine Moon just barely by choosing to bring Dismember to the table instead. In Contender 7, our winner was Awesome Guy 23, who was playing Alpine Moon, Hammerheim, and Heartfire Hero. So clearly the Alpine Moon variation is still popular and powerful. Alpine Moon can earn you so many freebies against non-basic lands that it's hard not to want to lean into this option. In Contender 6, our winner was Kilowatt, who was playing Crystal Vein, Mox Emerald, and Words of Wilding. As possibly the best token spam option right now, it's unsurprising to see Words of Wilding performing well across multiple pods. And speaking of performing well across multiple pods, in Contender 5, Yum was playing Alpine Moon, Hammerheim, and Heartfire Hero. There's not much more to say here other than this is a tried and true strategy. In Contender 4, our winner was Hammy96, who was playing Mox Emerald, Mutavault, and Outland Liberator. This is a familiar set of cards from past metas, but interestingly, into this pod, a key feature of the deck was simply that it has 2 threats. There were 4 Ajani Vengeant decks in this pod, and although Ajani can come down and Lightning Helix your Outland Liberator, Mutavault is all you need to take Ajani off of the board. In Contender 3, our winner was Soul Rose, who was playing Luminarch Aspirant, Mox Pearl, and Mutavault. Luminarch Aspirant has been one of the go-to options for Mox plus Manland decks for a long time. It put up a strong performance this month, and I suspect it will continue to do so in future metas. In Contender 2, our winner was Him to Twiddle, who was playing Caracas, Legion's Landing, and Tel'Jallad Stylus. We briefly touched on earlier in this video that the now banned Sarcomancy Tel'Jallad Stylus deck had edged out many other token generation options, and Legion's Landing is one of those. This deck is a little less aggressive, but lifelink is a nice perk to have, and the fact that you can cram in Caracas is a nice little bonus point. In Contender 1, our winner was Beanslinger 2, who was playing Ophelia, Viper Whisperer, Mox Jet, and Rishadenport. Ophelia is a threat that we haven't seen played much in the format so far because it's been edged out by some other 2-drop options that have been banned. For example, Ophelia Exuberant Shepherd. Ophelia pairs nicely with Rishadenport because it offers you a defensive threat that can go even or win against most single threat decks by virtue of simply having a creature with Death Touch. This offers you a bit of a failsafe against decks that you don't automatically win against by just using Rishadenport to lock your opponent out of the game. And in Exemplar, our winner was Doga, who was playing Caracas, Mox Jet, and Tidehollow Sculler. You know, when we banned Mesmeric Fiend, Meddling Mage, and Elite Spellbinder all at the same time within recent history, I thought we might be done with seeing these turn 1 hand attack decks grabbing wins even at the highest elos. Even with no fancy bells and whistles attached and an unimpressive stat line, Tidehollow Sculler's ability to take a critical threat or mana piece from your opponent earns you so many free games that it can win even at the most competitive stages of the format. Now, although Doga came in first in Exemplar, they still haven't accumulated enough elo to claim the champion title just yet. Our new champion is Uzok, who was playing Crack the Earth, Lightstall Inquisitor, and Undiscovered Paradise, and came in second just behind Doga. And that places Uzok at the top of the leaderboard with an impressive 1859 elo rating. And with that, I'd like to congratulate all our winners one more time before we move on to discussing this month's community ban vote. Now, I'm sure this will disappoint many of you to hear this, but this month's community ban vote has already concluded. Due to some real-life complications with work and the fact that I was part of a wedding party, the video release schedule for this month was significantly delayed, so we ran the community ban vote in the Discord channel so that we could get the result of the community ban vote out to you before the next month's tournament begins. The cards that were voted on this month were Show and Tell, Alpine Moon, Tidehollow Sculler, Isochron Scepter, Lightstall Inquisitor, and Mutavault. Let's begin by discussing the cards that did not get added to the ban list. We only voted on Show and Tell because it was recently unbanned. Nothing about its performance in October would indicate that the card was problematic for the format. Voters were in overwhelming agreement that this card didn't deserve to be banned. Lightstall Inquisitor, on the other hand, only survived by the skin of its teeth. The card had a pretty even spread of people who wanted it banned, people who wanted it to stick around, and people who felt indifferent about it. Personally, I'm happy it's sticking around for now because it's a very unique card, and I think it still has more to offer to the format that we haven't seen yet. Mutavault also survived this vote with a very substantial number of folks interested in keeping the card around. Manlands that can be activated for a single generic mana are critical for the 3-card blind format because they define an entire deck blueprint. Although if Mutavault had been banned, Blinkmoth Nexus might have been able to fill the shoes it left behind. Many community players felt like this would be such a huge nerf to the Mox Manland 2-drop decks that they might be reduced to an extremely fringe part of the meta. For the time being, Mutavault is here to stay. Alpine Moon being banned is an interesting one because this will open up the first time that we're seeing Heartfire Hero legal without Alpine Moon around. Although we can expect Heartfire Hero to continue to be viable in combination with cards like Dismember, the fact that it can no longer bring land disruption to the table may open up room for other 1-drops to fill the non-basic land hate niche using cards like Seize Claim and Evil Presence. The most negatively voted on card this month was Tide Hollow Sculler, and if you're familiar with the recent history of the format, it's not hard to figure out why. As recently as July, we saw a meta that revolved around very similar cards, which led to Meddling Mage, Elite Spellbinder, Mesmeric Fiend, and Brain Maggot all being banned in the same month. Although Tide Hollow Sculler never even came close to this level of dominance, seeing it win in Exemplar kind of leaves a bitter taste in people's mouths when we've already seen these decks so many times within recent months. And our final card being added to the ban list is Isochron Scepter, which we haven't talked about much in this video so far. In combination with Mana Crypt and any of Lightning Helix, Verdant Command, or Battle Menu, Isochron Scepter has been a strong and popular performer for several months. There is also no clear outlier in its 3 pairings to be able to point to one of them as being responsible for this card's success. I can only speak for myself personally, but I was finding the deck's consistent popularity and performance to be getting rather stale. It's the type of card I could imagine making a reappearance in the format at a later date, but for the time being I'm happy to take a break from it. And before we wrap up this video, we have to cover the outcome of the unban vote that supporters of this community have the privilege of participating in. Among the 10 cards that were eligible to be unbanned this month, none of them received the support needed to be removed from the ban list. And with that, we've wrapped up all of October, and you are all set up with everything you need to consider what you might submit for November's main event tournament. Thank you to everyone who participated this month, and don't forget that you can participate next month by submitting a deck between the 1st and the 7th of the month. Thanks for watching everyone, and see you soon.